Hi, well, welcome to this Open Security Summit session in September 2022. And Abbas is going to really talk about a super critical topic, which is important, but as you see, there's a lot of nuances and the industry changing massively. It's all about cybersecurity insurance, which I still feel it's a massive part of the solution in the medium term, but we really have a lot of challenges at the moment, which Abbas is going to get into it. Abbas, over to you.
Thank you, Dennis. Thanks for having me on this cybersecurity. On this Open Security Summit session. I'm going to talk today about cybersecurity insurance. So the title is cybersecurity insurance, and more into it. Basically, I'm not gonna, we're gonna start generic on this one. Then later on, we're gonna create a panel, and we're gonna create more sessions, more discussions in the future. But today, I'm just gonna talk about cybersecurity insurance in general, and some cons and pros, and what we are seeing in the market lately. So I'll start by introducing myself. So I'm a cybersecurity enthusiast. I'm the SOC manager for Ant Group International, which is a part of the Alibaba Group. I have some technical background. I worked as in IT for about 10 to 12 years. I like threat modeling and graph visualization. I like, talking about security on autonomous system. I have beaten diabetes. They call me Scotty. So my previous boss who is on this call, he called me Scotty because I used to worry a lot about what's going on our network. And
no, also because every time we needed to go to hyperdrive, we went to hyperdrive. So
thank you.
That's
And I am as well being called the incubator. I used to take on new teams, create them, get them ready, and and get them ready, and then deliver the team project. So I'm just going to talk about some cyber security facts. So this is just from over the last 2 years. So there are 36, before we get into cyber insurance, 36% of micro and 48% of small businesses identified breaches in 2021. That's quite a lot, right? So 48% of small businesses. So that's a lot. 39 of businesses identified a cyber attack in the last year. And as you see here on the right, you can see that the number of identified cyber attacks is going down. This is not because of cyber attacks are less now. I just want to clarify this. It is because some businesses are not declaring what's going on, and you need to know that because of COVID and stuff like that. So that's why we have a kind of the same percentage here, but I'm pretty sure that is way more than 46% here. And another cybersecurity fact is that threat actors, cyber criminals, are getting more clever every single day. End user, we all know that end users can be caught off guard, tricked by phishing emails. As you know, phishing emails probably is the number one security threat to any company. Despite having enough security controls on the corporate systems. Cyber breaches can cause financial, strategic, reputational damages. They can damage your compliance, regulatory, and they can stop your operations. And as you see here, so this is a proportion. This is from gov.uk. They did a survey this year about cyber attacks, and as you see, the proportion of UK business acting to identify cyber risk each year, so it is now going to up to 54%. I don't think the 2019 and 2020 figures are absolutely right, but I mean this is quite right. So why do we need cyber insurance, and what does it mean to a business? So cyber insurance, it's a type of insurance which helps your business financial interest in the event of a cyber attack or internet-based risks. That's how they talk about it in the policies. It covers like loss of business income, interrupted business caused by cyber breaches. It covers like the recovery cost. One of them is fixing a computer asset or data restoration. It covers legal forensic fees. It helps business recovering their reputation, meaning here we had a big cybersecurity breach, you can't compensate your customers. One of the good things about cyber insurance can be a driver to raise your business security bar. It's like a compliance if you think about a compliance program, like raising your security bar, cyber insurance as well will drive you, because if you don't do that, your underwriter is gonna charge you a lot of money when you are trying to sign a policy, before you try to sign a policy. Well, I'm not going to say all of them, some of the cyber insurances, they cover hardware, and this was a big over the last couple of years we had big debates about this, disputes between customers and the cyber insurers. It will cover like costs required to notify customers about a breach and credit monitoring. So do businesses need cyber insurance? This is the big question, because it's always about your asset value. It is about your product value, whatever you are offering. So is it worth getting a cyber insurance? And to be honest, if you want to go and do a cyber insurance and everything, most probably you're not going to get reimbursed later on. You need to create your own scenarios before. So probably find your security gaps, and after that say, these are our security gaps, and let's create some scenarios here, and let's do insurance on these scenarios. So so tough cyber insurance is a vital facet of a company's security strategy. It is possible firms might only underwrite prospects with proof of security controls, but the necessity of security expert services go far beyond this. As we know, most effective way of combating attacks is to detect and neutralize threats before they launch, by combining, your cyber insurance with your monitoring and with your endpoint security. Full visibility into your corporate security posture at all times enable experienced cybersecurity expert to seamlessly detect when a threat has penetrated the network and contain it. Well, I don't know about the word penetrated the network, but I meant, and contain it. So I just wanted to say, when you go and buy a cyber insurance, so you will have an assessment which is performed by the insurers as soon as you start coordinating about a cybersecurity policy. So it is called cyber underwriting. What is cyber underwriting? It is an assessment performed by the insurer when a business coordinates cyber insurance policy coverage. And what type of risks underwrites assessed? It, security posture. So cyber breaches, as we know, they are very costly. So $8.64 million as average per data breach. So that's a hell of money, a lot of money. And that's why when you talk about cyber insurance, if you don't, as I said, create your, find your security gaps and create scenarios, the policy would, it's going to cost you a lot of money, and some businesses, they cannot afford that. That's why you need to deal with it, scope what you want to insure, and take it from there. Otherwise, it's going to be so expensive. I mean, what the underwriters will check on your pen tests and and the related domains to identify any vulnerabilities and deficiencies. As an example, like you have insecure endpoints, stuff like that. Data management, they will verify security policies, procedure, and gauging. So they will check on your data protection policy. They will check on all your various policies that you are enforcing within your company, following within your company. They will do cyber risk quantification, and this is something I was talking to Dennis about on my last call. About cyber risk identification. How do you represent risk on all levels? I think every single risk should have a linked issue to it, which is how much would it cost if we have that risk, and in terms of cyber insurance. Benchmarking cybersecurity, cyber threat financial value, and this is against how much would it, if we have that threat and if you have that vulnerability exploited, what would be the cost, and what be the cost, and it will take into consideration as well your competitors. So that's what they will do. So cyber insurance, as we know, it is not enough. Cybersecurity policies and you need to have in place your cybersecurity policies and processes. As when you deal with a cyber insurance, you need to deal with it the same way you are dealing with your compliance stuff. When you are, following a compliance program, you need to take into consideration that I am not doing this just for the sake of getting, to say to our customers, yes, I have cyber insurance, or I am SOC 2 certified, or I'm ISO 27001 certified. You need to take this as an opportunity to raise your security bar, to make sure that you have enough controls in place. And some of these controls are cybersecurity policies and processes. And believe me, with cyber insurers, if you're not doing your job honestly here, very honestly, you're implementing your security controls and you are following cybersecurity policies and processes, it will bite you back, because they will say, we're not going to cover you because of this and this and this. So you need to make sure, cyber insurance, it is on the top of a SOC 2. So if you have a SOC 2 or a ISO 27001, this will become on the top as a leverage on the top of the compliance. And probably, and there is a lot of things we can, cyber insurance can evolve this way, and which I will talk about in the last slide. You need to make sure that you have your technical controls and governance for cybersecurity. You need to make sure that you educate your staff, educate your board, and make sure that cybersecurity is in the core of a product life cycle, of the culture of the business. So it is in the strategy. As we all know, the cybersecurity market, as an example, now is booming. It has been since the COVID hit planet Earth. It became booming, and there are a lot of demand on cyber security professionals. And I'm pretty sure most of you have seen companies who want to hire people just for the sake of hiring someone. Say, yeah, we are doing cybersecurity, so just to put someone on their on their payroll, to say, yes, we are doing cybersecurity and all of this. So you need to make sure that cybersecurity is in the middle. Areas of interest such as cybersecurity training, supply chain risks, so management and use of government guidance. So it all starts with cybersecurity training, security awareness training for your staff, and probably more especially like in-deep security training for the developers, and you need to make sure you have your SDLC and stuff like that. So cyber threat landscape, which includes the impacts, outcome, and estimated financial costs. This is something very important. So when you are talking about your cyber risk, you need to make sure that you always quantify your risk. How much would it cost us in terms of insurance if we have this risk? And you need to make sure that you have incident response to cyber breaches. And here, when we talk incident response, you need to have like a incident framework. So you need to make sure that you are following process. You have your playbooks. You know what to do when you have an incident. You know what to do, when to escalate, who to escalate to. And here you can create a lot of tabletop scenarios where you can train your teams on different level of incident of security breaches, and how you're gonna behave when you have a security incident, from a P1, whereas P1 is severe, when you're gonna involve marketing, you're gonna involve HR, marketing. Someone is gonna go and from the C-level and say, we have a security breach, to even like a P4, where it is a very normal, a very basic security incident. So here I wanted to talk more about some expert views. There are two people I deeply respect, what I've been talking to lately. One of them, so one of them is my current boss, Scott Bancroft. He is the CISO of Ant Group International. When I asked him about cyber insurance, and what do you think? Do you think do we need it, or do we not need it? And how is he finding it? He bought a couple of cyber insurance over the years for different companies. So he was telling me it became more difficult to obtain an appropriate level of cover on a cyber insurance. because the cyber insurers are asking for too many details. So for too many details, it is more, their audit will be even more extreme than I say ISO 27001, and it is expensive. So as we said before, and as one of my discussions with Dennis, so I think we need to have this, the cyber insurance on the top of any compliance program. Say you have cyber essentials, and that means you are level 0. Cyber essential plus, you are level 1. You have SOC 2, you have ISO 27001. And I think you should not. I think the underwriting policy should not allow you to cover, let's say it's a full cover, anything, whatever happened. It's not a car here. It's not a total damage, because the damage can be really big. So you need to make sure that you have very specific scenario. You need to find your security gaps, and after that do some scenarios that might happen, and then insure it. That's what they should allow. I think we need a lot of maturity on this level. In terms of expensive, yeah, that's what I said. So I think if you scope your cyber insurance, it will be less expensive, and you'll have a better outcome. Okay, and one other thing is, and as I said before, you need to do it properly. You need to do cyber insurance properly to raise your security bar. You need to be honest about everything there, because if this will bite you later on. So if you don't follow the processes, if you don't, if your processes are not clear, you might be in trouble later on. And the cyber insurers, they are, this is costing them money. They're gonna try to get away and not pay them, not pay. Not pay the company which is claiming cyber insurance. So they're going to say you have not followed this. I mean, I know one of the examples when it says like, yeah, but your user clicked on this. Yeah, the user clicked on this, and we have security awareness training, and they're not supposed to click on it, but I still clicked on it. So you're going to say that we have the security breach, and you're not going to reimburse us on this. So Scott, he's saying here, we have provided a ton of upfront information when taking out the policy, and had assumed that this is a form of basis of any claim decision. However, we were required to provide huge amounts of additional data. There is also the issue of GDPR and other privacy laws when an insurer requires you to provide log data. And imagine, when you are working for a financial institution or a big institution which is working in multiple regions. So imagine how that's going to be a big overhead, and it's going to take a lot of time. So basically what I would say, just make sure that you scope your stuff, just do some scenarios of possible cyber breaches. Instead of doing a full coverage, because it's not going to work. The cost can be huge. Yes, if I said that on the first slide that the average cost of a security data breach is 8.64 million. Yeah, and imagine the security, the insurance, the fee is going to be really big. So Scott is saying here, it is appreciated that the risk can also be huge for the insurer. Clearer requirements for what will be required if a claim is submitted need to be made upfront, as well as some more information on the process used by the insurer to come to a number for a claim payment and for premiums, and which is really important. So I think we are not mature enough with the cybersecurity insurance at the moment. I think it is getting much better, because I know that companies now, they will ask you for data, they will ask you for some feed. Let's say, can you hook us up to your AWS environment? So you give them an API or something like that, and they start getting data and learning what you are doing, and that will help. So it is changing, it's slowly changing, but it's going to take some time. So and this is one of the very important things, cyber insurers do not have their cyber security specialist who can give you, who can look technically into the data and say, oh, we can see this, we can see that, that's not right, that's not. So, and this is there is a possibility of security breach here. So that's what was not happening with cyber insurance before, and it started to happen. But I'll talk about this in a second when I get to my favorite expert view. So Dennis Cruz, I think you all know Dennis. He's the CISO at Holland and Barrett and Glasswall. So I had a chat with Dennis like a week ago about his views about cyber insurance, And Dennis was saying that cyber insurance is becoming one of the most critical pieces of the puzzle in the cyber world. It will be a massive leverage for us to measure and allow a business to make a good decision. Logical evolution of cyber insurance, as an example. So this is something we are missing. So I mean, I started this with the policy underwriting, but it's not mature enough. Let's say, do I have an AV antivirus? Yes, I have an antivirus. So that means that insurance will cost you here that much. Or you don't have, or you have a XDR. So that's probably a better solution, and it will cost you less. So if you didn't install a antivirus agent on one of your machines, and you have a data breach, that's your problem. So so this is the logical evolution of the cyber insurance. And this is very important, which I mentioned before. Cyber insurance cannot be done only on the top level. It has to be granular. So legacy insurance is different than testing environment insurance. So if we are talking about my crown jewels, my life system. So I mean, the insurance there should be probably more expensive if we're talking about like a test environment. And another thing is cyber insurance should accept to have cyber experts to be able to measure risk. I will tell you what, one of the biggest cyber insurers in the UK, and I was talking to them about possibility of me joining them. So to the point where they wanted to hire me, they did not have a cybersecurity department, even like cybersecurity analyst, and that shocked me. So how would you be able to do a policy underwriting, to write a policy if you don't know, if you don't have the technical ability, if you technical knowledge, if you don't have the if you don't have data and someone who is analyzing this data. So it is crazy. I think this has started to change at the moment, but this is a fact. This is something which is there. Sorry. Yeah. So how many times, like cyber insurance in the past, cyber insurance was missold, right? So and this is according to Dennis. It costs the insurers a lot of money. Like, they had yeah, we can sell this, we can sell this, we can sell this. I will go and sell it. And then they realized that they were paying too much money and start doing data science. Yeah. So another thing, when I was talking to Dennis, he was telling me that cyber insurance companies started to analyze their potential customers' data before selling an insurance policy, which is a good data for security teams. I mean, now they would ask you, can you give us a API link to your, as I said before, to your AWS environment. They start learning about your traffic, learning how things work, and after that, they can come with a policy. Yes, and another one is the risk evaluation should take into consideration how much insurance will cost. So when you are doing your business risk, so you are doing your risk register. So you need to make sure, like, you take to put a value, cyber insurance value, against any risk which is would affect the business. That will make it much easier in terms of a breach. If you have a breach because of this, it will cost us that much to recover, and that will make it easy on you, on your business, and on the insurer. So, and I know, as you all know, Dennis likes to talk about Wordly maps. So talking Wordly map, for the cyber insurance market to work, the cybersecurity expertise, data, and awareness need to go to the right. Where is your data? Who manages it? So if you go to a big company, like I can guarantee you, if you know to go one of these big companies, tell them where is your data stored, they might not have the answers. Who manages it? Who has access to it? And they might not know that. They might not give you an answer. So we need to shift things to the right. What is the payout? You need to be explicit about the scenarios where your company is to be reimbursed. Find your gaps, then insure. And this is something I learned from Dennis. And as I said, so make sure, like, you don't take a big scope. Make sure you look at your security gaps, and then write your scenario in terms of a breach, put a risk, and put a risk evaluation, and check how much insurance will cost you on this one, and take it from there. And the last one, which is very, very important. This is something I asked Dennis the question. So do you think we need to have like a cyber insurance framework? And he said, cyber insurance should be on the top of any compliance program like SOC 2, ISO. So, just to apply that maturity model on there. So let's say if you have cyber essentials, you'll be, it will be rated as 0. And if you have cyber essential plus, probably 0.5 or probably 0.25, because I don't believe in the Mickey Mouse ones. If you have SOC 2 or ISO 27001, it will be more. So this is my presentation for today. What I am aiming for the future. This is just an introduction to cyber insurance. So next time I will be working with Dennis and a couple of experts just to do a panel and probably bring more talented people, more people who are working on cyber insurance to the next slides. But I wanted to start with something very simple, and then we can take, and probably look into that maturity model and see how we can achieve maturity in cyber insurance or start achieving maturity. I know this is evolving a lot, so it's changing all the time. It's getting better, but I mean, we are still behind. It just we are still behind. So so these are my references, and this is the last page. I just want to say a big thank you to Dennis, and thank you to my current boss, Scott Bancroft. And I'm wondering if you have any questions.
Yeah, please put some questions in the chat if you guys have. Great work. It's actually really great work in capturing. The last time we spoke to Abbas, it's quite good to see the stuff. And look, like I said there, right? I think this is a massive opportunity. I think we're in a pivot point for the cybersecurity industry. And I think what's interesting is to see who's going to get there, right? This is either going to come from cybersecurity industry companies who start to really gain the skills, or cyber insurance companies or cybersecurity companies who are now going to beef up and go into that world, right?
Yeah.
And I know there's a couple of startups, which I think it would be good to start talking about them, because there's a number of startups who, maybe not some of them that startups, but there's a lot of interesting funding going at the moment to trying to create almost a new generation of cyber insurance. And again, the interesting thing is, can the cybersecurity companies modernize themselves enough? Basically, this part of their company needs to become a technology company. It's that simple. In fact, they need to become a security company, or a security consulting company, right? And if they can do that, that will be quite interesting. On the other hand, you have now some big cybersecurity companies that come with a lot of experience, even some of the big fours, right, who can go into this world by partnering with the underwriter. And if they can do that, they're going to be able to do a lot of good things in the market. And I want a nice, vibrant cyber insurance market, so I can use cyber insurance as a way to measure risk. So even today, I was asked, what's the financial risk of this? And we're like, I can't really quantify it. But if I had insurance, I can say, well, I can give this on the risk reduction. I believe we'll do it. And actually, the cyber insurance puts this premium on a breach caused by that. And suddenly it becomes a nice financial number. And that's when I think it becomes really interesting, right?
I meant what shocked me, Dennis, is, I'm not going to mention the company name, but it's like a very, very big name in the cybersecurity and cyber insurance, word. And they shocked me. They don't even have any cybersecurity, I'm not going to say specialists, like even consultants. And I was like,
that's a problem.
Or technical consultants, let's put it this way, technical consultants. So how could you sell me an insurance if you don't have someone who can analyze my data, who can, what's this technical breach mean?
Well, they did, right? And it worked for a long time, right? Until it started to backfire recently, where the premiums start to go insane, right? So that's the thing at the moment. Like, there's a lot of people who bought those insurance from those companies who didn't have a clue, and now going to them and say, okay, now you pay out. And they're going, ooh, to pay it, right? But which is why you already start to see cyber insurance companies saying, I'm not going to give you an insurance, which is interesting, which is a great evolution of it. So good stuff. Look, I think this is what we need now is to do a really nice panel. And I think maybe it'd be cool to evolve these now into some areas, maybe where the market is, right? I think would be a really cool view. And you need to interview more people. Let's get you more people. But you need to publish those slides, by the way, because they are a great introduction, and that allows us now to really continue this research.
Yes, I will publish the slide. I'll send them to Alona after we
cool.
finish.
Well, there's a question here. Alona, can you make Miss Essen a co-host, and then she can ask her question?
Hi guys. So much. Hello. Thank you, Abbas, for the good presentation. It is one of the topic I have a personal interest. So I have been come across with people, and I do realize that none of the insurance companies, they have technical ability, and also from the companies, they don't have either. So I don't know where the process is broken, but for some reason, most of the insurance companies I hear and I witness that they don't actually put their name under the big real issues. Do you think it is the business actually not pressuring them? Because usually when they are going through all their policies, they are bypassing the real risk. They are not accepting, they are not taking any responsibility or anything like that. But that has to change. If they like to become the main insurer, they have to start putting their hand under the real issues or anything happens. For me, what I see in the market lately, everybody's telling me, well, cyber insurance is not progressing as much as it should do. So I'm thinking maybe business should become a little bit more proactive and pressuring them, getting them to sort of accept the potential risks rather than them putting their very, very nicely written policies, very safe, secure policies. So I don't know. I mean, I would like to see some information on that and potential any meeting or anything else you guys creating. I wonder if you can bring some people from the business and maybe giving some advice from that side rather than only from the insurance firms and the people who is going through these difficulties or maybe haven't had some hacking and lost some business and how they cope and what they like to do. I'm trying to see some reverse change in the market. And I think that will only happen with businesses who had either issue or who has real risks, pressuring the insurance companies, take the real risk and they insure the real problem rather than very much secured, safe played insurance policies. So I just wanted to find out your view on that, because the people I'm talking and I'm just reading and finding out is a bit limited, but you are someone in the market. So is there enough pressure from business to actually get insurance firms to act and take more risk? What do you think?
I think from my understanding in the beginning, I don't think that a lot of people were taking cyber insurance seriously. And that's how it started, like with salespeople. I started like, yeah, we can sell this, and they sold a lot. And then, they got bitten. And then they started to get better, like bitten by like, yeah, we are paying a lot of money here, Our policy underwriting is not covering everything. It's covering everything, which is not really good. And then they start to be like, they have like more explicit policies or user-based policies. But in terms of businesses, if they are putting too much pressure or not, I mean, I think they started like, I think they started, I'm not really sure about, well, they start to put pressure in a way when you have you heard probably in the news like a couple of cases where a business and a cyber insurer went into a dispute, and then they said, yeah, we can cover you on this, we can't cover you on that. And one of the most ridiculous things I heard with someone who had a cybersecurity breach lately was, it was a phishing email. As you know, there is no guarantee that you can be safe, 100% safe, against phishing, which is number one, cyber threat to any business. I'm not saying to a specific business, but to any business. Even if you do cybersecurity awareness and send probably a fake phishing email every single month and start to educate your people. These people are on the other side. They are getting cleverer and cleverer at every single day. And that's cyber. Yeah. So one of the users clicked on the link. They got a security breach. The cyber insurer refused to pay them the money. And I can't say that company name just because it's confidential. They said no, because it's you. They clicked on it, and you said you have a security awareness training in place. And they said, yeah, we have cybersecurity awareness in place, but can you give us a solution which guarantee 100% protection against phishing, and then we'll accept you not paying us. So I think they went to court. It was a big case, and basically the company won the case. And not the cyber insurer, the customer won the case. And
sure, that's good to know. At least, I mean, it's this is the side that I just actually like to see, because it seems like they are playing too safe. They are not accepting anything. I mean, if you are in the cyber, those are the potential risks and threats that you deal day and night. And
in addition, I'm telling you, I just mentioned that I was talking to a big, probably the largest, one of the largest, cyber insurers in the UK, and they didn't have a security department team, technical one. I'm talking. They only have cybersecurity consultants, and they are generalists, not a specialist. So so if I want to, as I said, and I agree with Dennis, when we're talking about check your security gaps and do some scenarios, and put your insurers on these security gaps, in particular. So this is something very important here. So that we are not saying, sorry, the cyber insurers are not taken seriously. I don't know, Dennis, if you have a different opinion.
No, I think what you said. So what I was just add is that what we see is this is now a pure market. What I think what we're seeing, right? And I think Abbas was spot on the analysis. But what we're seeing is a real market economics problem. So initially, you had a lot of insurers who gave insurance without understanding the side effects of it, but they had enough caveats on it that allowed them to get away with it. And they will initially make enough payments to show that the market was working, so that people buying it felt, well, at least there's some payments going out. Eventually, the amount of payments that insurance companies were being asked to do became bigger than their risk appetite, which basically means they were starting to lose money with the cyber insurance. So what they've done was they started to challenge every time you then issue a request to the payment. And then that's where the case that we were just talking about becomes, where the cyber insurance starts to say, well, we don't want to pay out because of this. And then what you realize when you look at the cyber insurance companies, the amount of situations and use cases where that can actually come true are small. Then you have a situation where if you do call the insurance, your premiums go off the roof the next year. So you almost have to make a balance to say, if I do get paid out from this insurance, next year I'm going to be much harder to insure, and the premiums are going to go really high. And you have then a situation where you might even not be able to get insurance next year, which, it might be okay, not might be okay. But what I think we see now is the market correcting itself. And what you really need is, like you were saying, is you need companies to put a lot more pressure to get proper insurance on the other side. And you need insurance companies to put a lot more pressure into the companies they insure to the finance. So one of the things that I mentioned, and I think Abbas captured, is that I think the most important thing if you decide insurance today is you need to map what are the scenarios where you get value from it. Like literally, you need to role play those scenarios. And that's okay, because what you're saying is if we do this, and you agree that we've done this, and we have a data breach there, and the current risk is X, then there's a payout. If you don't do those scenarios before, you can end up in very fuzzy lands, right? About what gets paid and nothing gets paid, etc. But that's where we are today. I do think we are an inflection point where, if you have a cybersecurity company who doesn't have security expertise, then they're on the wrong side of history, and they're either selling insurance and then insane risk for themselves, or they're going to stop selling insurance because they don't have enough to articulate. If you have companies who don't put enough pressure on their cyber insurance, then again, like, what are you buying? What are you paying the money for? And that's the thing. And also, it's very important to sometimes ask the question, who's buying the cyber insurance? I've seen personally, and I've seen other cases where the cyber insurance is bought by the CFO or bought by the financial team. And that just falls into the typical insurance that they get, which sometimes is a bit of a waste, because you might as well take that money and invest in countermeasures and invest in other things, right? But you might have regulatory requirements to that, which that might happen. But the market is definitely not where it needs to be, but I think there's a massive opportunity. Like, the way you're thinking is exactly how you should think. What you want to do is find people who are in the right side of history and align yourselves with them, because that's a massive growth there.
Mm-hmm.
Did I answer your questions and comments?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. But I'm really pleased. I mean, I just had to put for this session 1 hour to my diary and join here. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, let's do a panel. Let's do a panel the next one, right? I think it's, you're thinking the right way. Let's get more people to talk about this, right? And then, brainstorm and get the industry together, right?
Yeah, and also the other thing I would like to find out, I mean, it's, I don't know much from the government side, cyber insurance, what are the new policies they are developing? What do they do? I mean, they should also come up with their standards and framework. I mean, that's my view. Like I said, I don't know what is happening.
It should be enforced.
Yeah.
I think like you should have a basic, I don't know, I mean, you
framework,
should have a basic cyber insurance which covers like I don't know, there should be a scope, for your product or whatever you're selling, a basic scope, and there should be a cyber security insurance, like at least a standard one, which should be obligatory, like your pension, like, your pension, we pay. I don't want to pay into pension because I don't believe in it, but I have to. The same thing with the cyber insurance. There should be at least a standard one that everyone should be paying, should be having.
But then you need good cybersecurity and good cybersecurity hygiene practices, standards. So, and that's how the government needs to move. So the government could today say that cyber essentials is critical for everybody, right? And because that's the level. I don't think they can come out and say ISO 27000 or CSF framework or this is a problem. But you can already insure against PCI, right? So if you are, if you don't have PCI compliance, right? But these days you probably can't even trade, but you can already insure against that, right? So I think that's the level. But then the thing about this is the insurance companies, again, are missing a trick, because they should create the standard, they should define it, and then it'd be easy for governments to rectify it if you got something that works. But we don't have something that works today.
Yeah.
Maybe for the next panel, maybe we can try to find someone from the government side as well, Denise, to invite. I don't know if you know.
Why not?
Absolutely. This is like, the video is here. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, just put them on a spot and send them lovely questions.
Absolutely.
Miss Essen, would you add me on LinkedIn or share your email address or something like that?
I definitely, yes. I'm following from here. Yes.
Yeah, brilliant.
I think one very important thing, Dennis, before, if no one else has any other questions, so we need to create that maturity model, like you said, where we have the cyber insurance, should stay on the top of the compliance program. And after that, you can, say, this is your maturity level here according to your compliance. And that will help as well. I don't know. This is one of very important things we should have.
I think you need granularity. I think the part of the mistake here is to try to get the global cyber insurance. Yeah. I think you need to go granular. Yes. And it's almost like the global cyber insurance should be the enterprise deal of mini cyber insurance. So if you look at a business, you need to figure out where is the places where you have clear, almost maturity levels. You insure that, and then you go, hey, instead of buying 20 insurance, I should buy one, but that should be almost made of the other bits,
Yeah.
right? Because or else, if you try to negotiate one for a whole company, it doesn't make sense. It's going to be too generic or not generic.
It will if you are able to pay, like, let's say $10 million a year for your cyber insurance. I'm not, 10 million is not enough even.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many millions. So
We'll see. Good stuff. All right, Abbas, really brilliant. I think
Thank you.
we can end it like this.
Thank
And
you.
then I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Thank you.